Uh, I'm sure you can tell by that I am not excited to read this upcoming chapter of the Danish Slaughterhouse. Let the games begin. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm not looking forward to this at all. Like, let the games begin? Like, good lord, what's gonna happen in this chapter? Am I gonna puke? Am I seriously going to puke? I still have my EME bag. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Sometimes I wonder why I'm even here. Anyway, let's get started. He couldn't sleep. No matter how firm the mattress was to suit his knees, or how downy the quilt was, no matter how many long, I'm gonna guess that the author meant to put hours. He stared up into those fluffy white clouds on his ceiling that could make even the most insomniac person drift off into blissful sleep. Lucas couldn't end the barrage of what-ifs from storming in his tired mind. He tossed and turned in his bed, his skull pounding with unused fury and scenarios. I should have killed that son of a bitch. What if I didn't come in time to rescue Emil? Was Matthias really going to attack him? Is Matthias really that type of man? Why did Emil stop me? Is Emil doing okay? Lucas sat up in his bed and tossed the quilt back. He swung his legs out of the bed and onto the floor, standing up from the mattress and walking towards his door. He needed to hear the truth of what happened, what could have happened, straight from Emil. More so, he needed Emil to realize the truth himself. Quietly padding barefoot out into the hall, Lucas crept to the door of his younger brother's bedroom and pressed his ear against it to hear any noises of consciousness. When silence greeted his ear, Lucas tried the doorknob, saw that it was unlocked, and twisted it and pushed the door open. He stuck his head inside and squinted in the darkness towards the bed, just barely making out the small frame under the thick blanket. Lucas stepped inside, closed the door behind himself, and noiselessly tiptoed towards the bed. He sat down on the edge and looked on the back of Emil's head, the silver strands messily splayed all over his pillow. Lucas reached out a hand to gently shake his brother's shoulder to wake him. What do you want, Lucas? Emil spoke without turning his head. Lucas lowered his hand and replied, I can't sleep. You're not sleeping in my bed. No, it's not that. I can't sleep without talking to you about something. Whatever it is, can it wait? Emil asked tiredly. It's freaking late for chatting. No, it can't wait. We have to talk about what happened earlier today. And what the hell happened, Lucas? Lucas felt his face scrunch up in irritation. You know what happened, Emil. You know what was going to happen if I hadn't intervened, and you denying it isn't going to make things better. Emil turned on his back and propped himself on his elbows. Lucas, he was joking, okay? You and I both know that Matthias is an idiot who takes jokes too far. He's not the type of person to rape or anything that perverse. He was before, and so were you, but you don't see me shoving your Viking history down your throat. That's because I wasn't trying to rape you or anyone else, and neither was he. Now will you just let it go and let me sleep? Not until you acknowledge what he was doing, which was attempted rape, so that I can kill that motherfucker. Emil scoffed and rolled his eyes. If you're so damn sure that he was going to attack me, then why the hell do you need my permission to seek revenge? Because, Lucas sighed, for starters, what should be done to him should be decided by you, since you were his victim. I'm not his second. If I do hurt him, you just hate me for it, even though it's my brotherly duty. Third, and most importantly, this denial of what happened, what could have happened, and just labeling it as something else isn't healthy for you. Whatever. Emil turned it onto his side and pulled his blanket over his head. Whatever? Emil, is that all you can say when I'm only trying to help you? Whatever? Fine, Emil said. Please lock the door on your way out. Thanks and good night. Lucas crossed his arms and scowled. Emil, I'm not leaving until... Lucas, please. Emil said quietly, loud enough to break through the blanket. Please, drop it, okay? I'm exhausted and I need some sleep. You're emotionally exhausted because you're bottling up your fear and pain. Oh my god, damn. Emil shut up. Why the hell are you still here? You know what? Fine, stay here. I'll leave. Emil jumped out of bed, snatched away a pillow, and went to his closet to grab a spare blanket. Hey, where the hell do you think you're going? Lucas stood up quickly and stalked after Emil. I'm going to sleep somewhere with a lock or something. Emil yanked the bedroom door open and looked back. Stay here and yap about rape all you want. Just don't come bugging me about it. Emil stumped out of the room and started walking down the hall. Hold on just a second. We're not finished. Lucas followed and grabbed Emil's shoulder, turning him around to meet Emil's eyes with his own. Emil, talk to me about this. I'm your brother and I only want to help. Why the hell do you keep insisting that something happened when it didn't? Okay, there's a lot of swearing. I'm actually kind of uncomfortable with the amount of swearing because I'm worried that I might get eavesdropped at the worst possible moment and get soap shoved down my throat even though I'm an adult. You did it, my hope. You haven't called my name. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Oh, what's going on? A sleepy voice yawned through the yelling. The two brothers turned to find Tino and Burl walking towards them. Tino rubbing his eyes and yawning again. Peter was latched onto Tino's arm and had his head leaning against Tino, meaning that for the fourth night in a row, Peter slept in his parents' bedroom again to escape the horrors of his untold nightmares. It's nothing, Tino, Emil grumbled. Sorry for waking you guys. Good night. Emil made a move to leave, but Lucas stopped him again. No, it isn't nothing. I'm trying to talk to Emil to help him, but he's being difficult and going in denial, and it isn't helping, and it's not helping him at all. Okay. Oh, sorry, I lost my place for a moment. What are you trying to help him with? Gerald asked, despite his sleepiness. He just needs help. Help feeding his imagination and trying to make it real. Emil stared pointed into Lucas's eyes. Nothing happened. Saying nothing happened isn't going to make it non-existent, Lucas said back with the same venom. It does when it's the truth. What are you guys talking about? Tino asked, his mind more awake with his curiosity growing. Nothing. Earlier today I caught Matthias in the laundry room downstairs trying to rape my brother. A little gasp sounded. You too, Emil? Oh! Frick! I didn't see that cup. You know what? I'm grabbing my EME bag just in case. Don't play with it, Lucy. I see you staring at me. Silence. The older nation's faces registered shock as they all turned their eyes down to the smallest nation of them all. Peter, realizing his slip of the tongue, awoke fully and cringed at the other stares. He squeezed his eyes shut. Oh, crud. Why did I blurt that out loud? He's right. I don't know when to shut up. Peter, what was that? Tino said. Peter shook his head. Nothing, Mama. No, Peter, you said something. What did you say? He said, you too. Burl repeated, scrutinizing his son with concern in his eyes. Tino took Peter's shoulder and turned him so they faced each other. Peter, what do you mean by you too? I didn't mean anything by it, Peter stammered. I didn't even say it. Peter, are you keeping something from us? Tino asked. Peter shook his head rapidly, which made the Finn sigh. Peter, please, tell me the truth. Did your Uncle Matthias hurt you? No, he didn't, Peter muttered, hanging his head to hide his face. Tino then heard a sniffle escape his son's mouth, and he watched with heartache as his son's shoulders started shaking with inaudible sobs. As Beryl rubbed soothing circles on the boy's back, Tino lowered himself on a knee and lifted Peter's face by his chin. Look at me. Peter turned his eyes toward his mother's face. Peter, do you remember that talk we had about when adults do stuff to young children like yourself? Peter nodded. I mean, your father and I told you what rape is. Peter nodded again. Do you remember we telling you that if such a thing happened to you, you must tell us or the next trusted adult so we can help you? Peter nodded a third time, this time rubbing his eyes with the back of his wrist to wipe away oncoming tears. I just realized something. It actually scares the you-know-what out of me. One of Matthias is listening in on everything here. Frick. Oh. I have bad vibes. Tino wiped the streak of tears off Peter's cheeks and gently pulled Peter's hand from his eyes to maintain eye contact. Baby, you know that your father and I would never blame you for something like that, right? You know that you can trust us and tell us. Peter looked at Tino with watery eyes and nodded, making a small sobbing sound in the back of his throat. Then tell us. Tell me. Did your Uncle Matthias rape you? Yes. Tino flinched at the answer, felt his stomach burn with the sort of anger sickness that would have weakened if he didn't take it out on something, particularly the perverted bastard, that, instead of being one of the few trustworthy people in the world who would have protected his family from this kind of horror, takes advantage of a child's trust and uses it to abuse him. And, I'm sorry, it's actually getting low-key sick with all this topic being brought up. I should have drank 7-Up before, because I didn't drink 7-Up before doing this reading, and I'm probably going to end up puking. And rape him. Taking a shaking breath, Tino controlled any expressive forms of fury in front of his son, who, by the way, is weeping like he always does when he's being punished. He was already afraid of getting into trouble, despite what Tino had just said moments ago. He's afraid of Matthias. Lucas hung his head and looked at Emil from the corner of his eye. Seeing the expression on his face, he registered so much emotions. Shock, disgust, heartache, and an underlying hint of empathy. Maybe I should have approached this like Tino would have. Peter, when did this happen? Beryl asked in an even emotionless tone. Tino knew that Beryl was trying to control his expressions of fury as well, but it was obvious by his violently trembling fist that Beryl too wanted to kill Matthias. Peter sniffled and said, "The first time was a week ago, I think." Everyone's eyes widened at the information. The first time? Beryl asked. You mean he did this to you more than once? Mm-hmm. Then the sob that he held in his throat finally escaped. He launched himself into Tino's arms and pressed his face into Tino's shoulder, crying loudly and trembling rather violently. Lucas looked towards Emil again. So what do you believe now? Emil gaped at the emotional breakdown of the youngest nation and shook his head slowly. Matthias, he wouldn't. He's not. Lucas heard outright denial, but almost as if he could read Emil's mind, he could hear the true revelation hitting Emil then and there from the example Peter had to suffer through. Matthias was going to rape me. Lucas gently took Emil's hand, making a move to pull him into a hug, just as Tino had. As the entire unraveling of the truth that happened among the group, as consolation for the victims and anger for the perverted pagan flame, everyone failed to notice that Beryl quietly slipped from their presence. They were in their own world now, a world that was momentarily safe enough for them to give his son or brother the comfort and safety they needed before going off to hunt down the predator. But it seemed that enacting justice wasn't necessary, as they could hear over Peter's ear-splitting bowling. I'm going to kill you. Everyone snapped their heads up towards the direction of the set, followed by screaming and protests and what must have been overturned furniture. What was that? Emil yelled in fear. Where's Beryl? Tino said, looking around them. Beryl, dude, what the hell? Matthias screamed from somewhere in the upper level. Oh, so he wasn't eavesdropping? I had a sinking feeling that he was. But you know what? Good on Beryl. You know what? I'm rooting for him. Kill him. Stop! Ah! Another sound, what could have been a vase shattering, rang through the hall. Lucas, Emil, Tino, and Peter looked at each other before sprinting through the halls to where the screaming was coming from. They found themselves at Matthias' bedroom door, standing in the doorway as they watched Beryl straddle Matthias' body, holding his older brother down by his chest and deliver punch after punch to Dane's jaw. Once or twice, Beryl's fist connected to Matthias' eye and lip, making those features bruised just as dark as his jawline. The four stood in shock and slight fear. There were very few times, so few that they can count on their fingers, when Beryl exploded like this, and his passive, neutral nature was eaten alive by the animal-like fury that was so destructive that even Matthias would turn tail and run from Beryl's path if he was able to escape from underneath him in his fist blows. Matthias gurgled and dribbled blood from the corner of his mouth and spat out a tooth. Seeing the group in the doorway, he shouted, Lucas, Tino, Emil, don't just stand there. Get this lug off me. No. 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 Nope. Mm-mm. You can go choke. Beryl moved his hand from Matthias' chest to his throat, turning any coherent words into sputtering gasps for air. There was a new kind of silence among the group of nations as the older ones turned over Matthias' plea for help in their heads. They wanted to laugh at him, openly mockingly laugh at him, and watch him get his ass handed over to himself by his younger brother for the abomination he committed, to children no less. But something felt off, and Tino knew what that something was as his eyes flittered to his son beside him. Peter froze where he stood, yet his small body trembled from head to toe. He cringed more and more into his mother's body, and his eyes widened and filled with horror. For that one instant, Tino could see what true child's terror looked like as Peter watched his father unleash this limitless stream of rage onto the brother he loves, or loved, seeing as Beryl's eyes were devoid of love, even humanity, as he glared down at Matthew's quickly bruising face and flapping lips that were trying to take in some air. Papa, Peter whispered through clattering teeth, watching his father become a killing monster. Beryl, stop, Tino shrieked. He earned looks of shock and disbelief from Lucas and Emil as he watched him burrowed and held back his arm before another fist was thrown. He tried to pull Beryl away. Beryl lifted his head towards Tino, his eyes wild with vengeance. What the hell do you mean, stop? He snarled. Are you suggesting we should just let this child rapist go? He glanced down at Matthews again, catching a look of surprise at the title child rapist. In a quick second, Beryl snarled and narrowed his eyes, flashing an expression that read, That's right. We know you sick bastard. You don't think I want this son of a bitch to pay for what he did to my baby? Tino hissed. I do, but I don't want Peter to be more traumatized than he already is. Okay, to be fair, Beryl probably shouldn't have beat up Matthews in front of Peter, but at the same time, punch a pedo, am I right? What? You're scaring Peter. Beryl looked up to where he stood. Sure enough, his son was latching onto Lucas, quivering against the narration as Lucas wrapped an arm protectively around his shoulders. Beryl frowned apologetically to Peter and slowly rose off his brother, giving him a kick in the ribs before walking away. Tito watched his husband before stepping his eyes back down to Matthews. He bent low to Matthews' bloody face and bore his teeth in a predatory snarl. You are so lucky that Peter is here, Tino hissed. Otherwise, both Beryl and I would have killed you right where you lay. He then straightened up and turned sharply on his heels. He stopped his son, turned him by his shoulders, and said in a stern but gentle voice, Come on, Peter, let's go. Peter looked up at his mom with curiosity. Go where? Back to bed? To your bedroom, yes, but not to sleep. Come on, we're packing our bags. We're leaving. Wait, what? Matthews shouted as he watched the other Nordics turn to leave. He scrambled to his feet and hurried after them. What do you mean you're leaving? You honestly believe we're going to stay in the same house as a pedophile? Tino laughed humorously. Beryl grabbed his arm and shook his head, signaling to Tino to ignore him and keep moving. Tino complied and continued to guide his son to his bedroom. Wait, are you serious? Are you guys seriously going to just believe the brat like that and without at least hearing my side first? Oh, please! I get it. Peter Seelan, he's a brat, okay? But do you seriously think he would lie about this? Do you honest to God think he would lie about this? He's not the type of character that I think would lie about this. I continued to deliberately ignore Matthews. And you guys know that I'm not some sick, sadistic rapist. Sure. If you were like Pinocchio and your nose would grow with all your lies, your nose would be a foot long. What is with you guys? He followed Lucas to his room and watched in panic as Lucas took his suitcase out of his closet and tossed it onto his bed. Lucas, come on. Why the hell would I screw a kid when I have a boyfriend, huh? The same reason you would try to do the same to his little brother against his will. Lucas droned emotionlessly as he yanked the zipper to the suitcase open. Because you're more disgusting than I thought. He went to the drawers and pulled out stacks after stacks of clothing, placing them in the suitcase with a creepy placidity. Oh, and it's ex-boyfriend, by the way. Booyah! You got dumped, bro. Actually, no. I don't call pedos bros. So, bye, fucker. Lucas, put the melon. I told you that it was fun, just fun joking. Why are you still so hung up on it? Matthew's face then momentarily went blank. Wait, did you just break up with me? I'm so glad you're smart enough to catch on to that so quickly, Lucas said snidely. He placed the last bit of clothing into his suitcase, zipped it, and sat on the bed to pull on his boots. And I'm still hung up on it because now we know the truth. Quit lying and just accept the fact that your perverted deeds were exposed. He stood up and walked to retrieve his coat. Lucas, come on, I'm not a rapist or a pedo. Yeah, you are. You were when you were a Viking, but now I can see that you haven't really grown out of that phase at all. Lucas yanked his suitcase off his bed and rolled it past Matthias to get out of the bedroom. Matthias followed after him. Lucas! Matthias, shut up! Lucas' voice was cold, colder than usual, which made Matthias freeze stiffly. Lucas looked over his shoulder. Shut up and be grateful that none of us haven't killed you yet. Because trust me, I wanted to. Still want to. I'd be happy that we're just leaving your sorry ass and never coming back. Heck, feel lucky that I have a stomach talking to you, looking at you at this moment. I think I can speak for all of us when I say this. You're lucky that we're civilized and you're a nation who still has citizens that depend on your landmass. Otherwise, you'd be dead and your land taken. Don't call us, write to us, visit us, or anything of the sort, because I don't think you'll be lucky enough to be worth in the violence anymore, like you aren't right now. Lucas walked toward his brother's room, shouting, Emil, are you ready to go? Matthias puffed his cheeks and clenched his fists at his side, ready to continue his argument and win his guests over again, because it was too soon, too early for things to start falling apart. Things shouldn't be falling apart at all, and he wondered to himself, where did I go wrong? Sighing deeply, Matthias made a decision and ran to his bedroom. He carefully made his way to the bedside table through the scattered pieces of broken vases and lamps Beryl made in his fit of uninhibited rage. He shifted through the dresser's contents until he found what he was looking for. A simple remote controller, small, black, and holding only a button and a switch. Oh no! Oh no! I'm getting bad vibes. Something bad's gonna happen, isn't it? He pocketed the device and rushed back out just as the other nations regrouped in the hall and started walking down the stairs. He hurried after them and started his rant again. Guys, stop. You shouldn't leave. Are you really going to break ties with me because of some lie a kid made up just to cause trouble? Okay, seriously, like I said, Seelan would not make this up. He's, sure, he can be a bit of a brat, but he wouldn't make this up. No kid would ever make up something so heinous, you pillow. Tino spat. You know what? Yeah, I agree with Tino right there. He stopped to punch Matthias for making such a disgusting claim, but again, Beryl took his arm and shook his head before he went any further. Tino gave Matthias a loathing sneer for agreeing with his husband again. He took out his suitcase and followed everyone to the living room and through the front hall. Dudes, I should tell you all right now that leaving would be a really bad idea at this point, Matthias warned. It's not wise to leave out that door. Lucas involuntarily hesitated for a moment. Norge, please, Matthias pleaded quietly. Matthias, didn't I tell you to shut up already? They all stopped at the doors and waited as Beryl unlocked them. Beryl, seriously, don't leave. Fuck you, Matthias. Beryl grumbled as he yanked the door open and let everyone out. Matthias shrugged and shook his head. Ugh, fine. Then I'll have to do this. He took out his remote control and flipped the switch. Freaking knew it. I freaking knew this wouldn't end well. Freaking... When that switch was flipped, the infrared readers at each corner of the mansion was activated, shooting out an invisible line connecting one reader to the next, creating an invisible barrier around the mansion close to the ground. Beryl stomped past the barrier. There was a sudden loud buzzing noise and Beryl froze. Beryl? Tino asked. Beryl, what's wrong? Ah! Beryl screamed. He collapsed on the steps and convulsed violently, every pore of his body glowing in an electric blue. Beryl! Tino rushed to his convulsing husband, then collapsed right next to him, screaming and thrashing as his skin sent out blue static. Mama? Papa? It's the other way around, but screw it. Peter lunged forward and reached for his parents, but Lucas grabbed him by the shoulder and pulled him back. What the hell? Emil yelped as he watched the two convulse. He then heard a low chuckle behind them all. He looked over his shoulder to find Matthias grinning cheekily to himself. His head tilted nonchalantly. Matthias, what is this? Is this your doing? Stop it! Matthias shook his head again and pushed past to get to the couple. He grabbed each one of their ankles and dragged them back into the mansion. Once inside and within the infrared barrier, Tino and Beryl lay still on the carpet, panting and foaming at the mouth. Peter and Emil knelt next to them and checked to see if they were okay. Lucas was the only one staring at the smiling Dane, crossing his arms defiantly. What did you do to them? Matthias waved a little remote-controlled device, not breaking that grin of his. You know the great thing about Kiku? He asked. He's the type of guy who'll do favors without asking questions, especially if those favors benefit him in some way. He didn't even ask whom I was going to use these intra-body shock collars on, or why I wanted to volunteer knowing that I don't have dogs. He sighed and looked away. I'm going to have to tell him that they're defective because the shocks are too harsh, but whatever. Intra-body. What? Tino asked weakly as he pushed his torso up from the floor, still too weak for the static attack to stand. Intra-body shock collars, Matthias repeated. He then hummed and thought. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm going to do my best, okay? He held his thumb and index finger close together and near his eyes, making a really close gap where the pads of his fingers and thumb almost touched. There are these nano-sized robots that course through the veins of those who ingest them. They're activated when the dogs, or in your case, people, cross the infrared barrier set up around the house's perimeters, sending wave after wave of electromagnetic shock through the body. It's this new invention Kiko thought up to replace the old shock collar, and it looks like it can paralyze even the biggest Great Danes. Or you guys if you all stay past the border long enough. Too bad about the stomachache side effects, though. Upon hearing the description of the intra-body shock collars, Lucas gasped as the memory occurred to him. He looked down at his bowl of ice cream. Hey, what's all of this? He picked up his spoon and prodded the ice cream. Among lots of chocolate chips for something smaller, almost microscopic. It looked like the black beans of the vanilla bean ice cream. Is that what those things were in the ice cream? Lucas wondered. Those little robots? Everyone stared at him. They all wondered to themselves if Matthias was playing another one of his 6 stupid pranks on them as a desperate move to show them that he had changed from the lovable, playful guy that they all knew and loved to the sadistic rapist that hurt their younger family members. They considered that maybe, just maybe, the scene that unfolded in front of all of them, when Beryl and Tino crumbled to the ground, thrashing, twitching, and screaming as their bodies glued to static ruling. Was their imagination gone awry from so much anger and sleep deprivation? This thing seemed too elaborate for the Dane, and he's only this elaborate when he wants to pull off a complicated joke. Beryl and Tino slowly rose to their feet, keeping their eyes on Matthias as they did so, Belt still bent with his hands on his knees. Matthias, what is this about? Tino asked wearily, wrapping his arms protectively around Peter's shoulders, half leaning on him for support. Matthias chuckled. Oh, it's just a little game I thought up a while ago that I wanted to share with you guys. A new, at last, brother bonding activity for us all. It's kind of my version of cat and mouse, where I get to chase you guys around the house, and if I get you all, I become king. It's too bad we had to do this earlier than expected, though. I wanted at least another week to spend with my brothers before they die off. Oh well. What the hell? Emil said in still silence. Matthias, are you kidding me or something? What? Whoa! Lucas shot past Emil unexpectedly to tackle Matthias as he talked, to take away the device out of his hands and save them all. Matthias shook his head and clicked his tongue, pointed the remote control at Lucas and pressing the button below it. They all crumbled to the floor in a seizure and glowed with static electricity, hyperactive in their bodies. Matthias pressed the button again, and the convulsion ended, leaving the nations to moan and lie still in pain. Another great thing about this is that you can use this anytime your pet misbehaves, Matthias chimed. Especially naughty little kittens that attack too much in one day. He waved the remote controllers side to side and in between his fingers and thumb playfully. Now, to the rules of this awesome-ass game, my cool brain thought up. They're pretty simple, really. The basics are that you run and hide and maybe even fight if you truly want to live. If any of you live until this week is up, you guys win and can leave freely if you want to. Now, the more complicated stuff. No helping each other out, or you get a nice visit from Mr. Shockey here. He glanced at Peter's body. Well, I guess Peter can stick with his mommy since the brat's so pitifully weak. Yeah, he's the exception to the rule. No hiding in one spot for more than 10 hours, and I know, okay? And I have that sense in me to know. No sticking in groups because that's just unfair to me and will earn you another shock treatment. You can use weapons to make this more interesting for me, although I seriously doubt that you guys can win this, weapons or no. Oh, and no outside calls. Wait, Emil spoke out, lifting his head to look at Matthias. You shot my ankle. How the hell do you expect me to be part of this stupid game of yours if I can barely run? Matthias shrugged. I had to even the chances for you all. It wouldn't be fair to the others if you had such a huge advantage at your disposal, now would it? But, Chillax, Simo. You can still jog. Why else do you think I made the shots as shallow as possible? Anywho, to recap here, hiding, yes. Weapons, yes. Running, yes. Fighting, yes. Helping, no. Unless it's Peter. Hiding for over 10 hours? No. Group work? No. And the survivor living past the week at 12 a.m., 7 days from now on, my time will walk out a free man. He glanced at his watch. Since I'm so nice, I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to start running. A decent head start if I do say so myself. Although the other nerds were trying to stand on their own feet after the electrical shock in their bodies, they still felt weak and dizzy from such an ordeal, and were only able to rise as far as their hands and knees, panting to settle their burning stomachs and lungs. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. They still knelt in their position, making Matthews glare at them with disapproval, made an impatient groan in the back of his throat, and tapped the button on the remote again, giving his guests a quick motivational boost before shutting it off again. 9 minutes, he drawled darkly. Now get moving. Despite feeling sick and exhausted from suffering consecutive electrical shocks in under 5 minutes, they all tapped into some reserve of strength, stood on their feet, and gave each other and Matthews looks before taking off into the dark caverns of the mansion. Matthews stood with his hands behind his back and hummed pleasantly, waiting for the time limit to end. When the remaining 9 minutes came to an end, Matthews took off after them. Oh, this is it. This is the end. Miraculously, I didn't puke. I feel like the Danish Slaughterhouse has just turned into me questioning, am I going to puke this chapter or not? Seeing how the next chapter is titled The Doe, like the female, like doe is female deer, I just have a really bad feeling about it, like even more so than past chapters. And the fact that I haven't gotten my new video series up yet means that I'm going to be coming back to the story sooner than I usually do. Oy vey. Anyway, I will see you guys next time.